Greetings, Band Warriors. Greetings. Greg is here, so are you. Results kill excuses. Another life lesson from my heart to your heart, from my soul to your soul on this beautiful day of life. I'm in colorful Colorado, we call it. Colorful Colorado. I hope you're having a wonderful day of life. Felt like sharing a message of inspiration here today. If you're new here, I just want to welcome you to the Results Kill Excuses channel. My name is Greg. I've been talking about sobriety. I've been talking about my healing journey over the course of 13 years. It's kind of a one day at a time, but yet don't get too uncomfortable just yet. My message isn't completely about being sober. However, I am an advocate that to heal in the most authentic, true, long-lasting, sustainable way. And when I say heal, I'm talking about emotional trauma. What is absolutely important is that you have mental clarity. And the only way I know to get the mental clarity is for you to give up on the chemical codependencies and what I usually am referring to, or what I'm always referring to, are any kind of street drugs, definitely alcohol, THC. A lot of people that feel uncomfortable about maybe their relationship with these types of substances will usually ask, well, do you use caffeine? Yeah, I got some caffeine right here. I got some caffeine right here. And what about sugar? Sugar gets brought up a lot too. For those that get uncomfortable with me shining that light. Are you ready for the light? There's a light. Oh shit. That's the bright light. That star in the sky. We call it our sun. But the sugar gets thrown out too, and sugar's another interesting substance that I have put massive amounts of an intention towards ridding myself of. But what's deeper than just ridding myself of my addiction to sugar, my love for sugar, was knowing that beneath the use and the cravings for sugar was unhealed trauma. So no matter what it is that you're dependent on, that you have a codependency with, it's usually unhealed trauma. Gabor Mate talks about this in length, and if you have never heard his messages, just Google him and listen to any one of his talks, and he'll always bring up that all addictions are rooted in unhealed childhood trauma. And that is probably one of the hardest pills to swallow. First is, do you even have trauma? Because most of us say, I ain't that little kid no more. I kicked that kid to the curb. What does my childhood have to do with me being a grown-ass adult? Well, it has everything, because that is where we are programmed. And what a lot of people are not yet awakened to is the fact that we're operating with survival programs that were first planted within us throughout our childhood. It's where we learn how to survive in this world. And oftentimes that survival program holds us back, keeps us playing it safe, not taking risks, conforming, settling. And yet, those are all really great ingredients for living a very unfulfilled life. And I'm here to tell you that if you would like to experience more out of your life, the only way that that's really going to happen, which can be challenging to hear, but the most authentic way for it to happen so that you're fully aligned with your true and authentic self is for you to do the healing work. And the healing work I'm talking about is dealing with your emotional trauma. And yet I'm grateful for everyone that's been checking in to the Results Kill Excuses channel, to my message, which I do believe is medicine, because maybe you don't struggle with addiction issues, or maybe it's not something you're recognizing, because addictions come in so many different shapes and sizes. We can be addicted to negative thinking. We can have addiction to shopping. We can have addiction to food. We can have addiction to gaming. We can have addiction to sports and entertainment. We can have addiction to gossip. Anybody gossiping? Anybody love those tasty, juicy rumors about other people? Talking about other people behind their backs? Anybody have a pattern of always getting sucked into those types of combos? But yet we don't see that as addiction. We don't see that as a way of not having to sit in our own muck, in our own shit, and figure ourselves out. And yet you're the only one that can figure yourself out. You are specifically designed to figure out everything that's happened to you. And not in a way of like you don't know what happened to you, but it's asking yourself, of all the things that have happened to you, ask yourself this. Of all the things that have happened to you, what were you meant to learn? What is the pattern? Is there a purpose? To your life experiences, beyond just being hurt, beyond losing trust of others, beyond feeling betrayed or feeling abused or feeling neglected or feeling rejected? Is there something deeper that's more spiritually attuned as a reason for why you had the experiences you had? And when I start peeling back that layer to this is what really opens up this message to not be just for men, right? This message is really for souls that are seeking clarity, answers, guidance, reassurance, and alignment with the questions and the things that are going on underneath the surface. Because I do believe that we all share a common soul purpose on this planet. We all have a shared soul purpose. Do you know what it is? Our common shared soul purpose is for you to become the best version of yourself, the highest version of yourself. And in order for you to do that, you have to let go of the pain, the suffering, the emotional wounds, the grief, the sadness, the anger, the fear, the doubt, the guilt, the shame that we often identify ourselves by throughout the course of our lives. These experiences, albeit very painful, and I usually talk about these very painful things in a very neutral way. And I think that makes a lot of people uncomfortable because we want to be seen as victims. We want to be identified in our victimhood. You want me to be getting on here and saying, oh, I'm so sorry for all the bad things that happened to you. How unfair, how sad. I hope that whoever hurt you is rotting in hell, or their life is terrible, like they should be punished for eternity because they did these things to you, and you deserve a break in life. Maybe that's what you want to hear. Maybe that's what you're waiting to hear. But for me to tell you that would be for me to be manipulating my own self and certainly be manipulating you. Because I truly do believe that by being here, listening to this message, you have come here not to hear what you want to hear, which may be that. You may be wanting to be seen and identified by your victimhood, and you want somebody to console you and somebody to really sit there with you. And you know where a good place is to get that type of support? It's a place I go once a week, and I've gone there for the past 13 years. It is to therapy, professional therapy. Professional therapy hasn't healed any of my trauma, any of my emotional wounding, but a professional therapist, and I've had many, the best ones are a really good sounding board. They can sit there with you and hear you. But most therapists will want to move you even past your own sense of grief, your own sense of anger and frustration and hatred. And that's where therapists at a professional level there's some restriction there. And I'm grateful that I don't have those kinds of restrictions, because I am a man that when I hit rock bottom 13 years ago, I went on a fucking warpath because I wanted to trust myself, and I didn't trust myself, and I couldn't understand why there was this other part of me that would take over in certain circumstances and wreak havoc in my life, and ultimately even hurt other people emotionally. And that alone was just eating at me, because I know I have a good heart. I know I had a desire to have harmonious relationships. And I didn't quite understand this dark side of myself. And there's a lot of you right now that also, you don't understand the dark side of yourself. It's called your shadow side. Because I think ingrained in who we are as humans, we only want to be seen by what? The light. We only want to be seen by the good things about us. And one of the things that I help coach people with very early on is to do an assessment of what are all the beautiful things about yourself and what are the nasty things about yourself. And guess what list people have the hardest time with? The bad things. And what's kind of funny about that, though, is that if you were to be more self-aware and really start tracking your thoughts every single day, you would realize that you're pretty critical of yourself. You tell yourself all the bad things about yourself. But yet, to fully acknowledge that and to fully accept that you actually do that, it's a really, really challenging step to take. And it does take a lot of courage. It does take you being in a place, again, that mental clarity and with some spiritual alignment and open-heartedness to be able to really have some real honest, heartfelt conversations with yourself. And a lot of that can happen in therapy, but it can also happen here. But ultimately, it needs to happen with you and yourself, looking in the mirror, looking within yourself, starting to analyze all of your idiosyncrasies, to become the observer of your thoughts, to really start to figure yourself out at the depths of who you are. And a lot of the times, the best way to figure who you are is to do what's called the life review. And it's to literally go back 0 to 10 years old and to write down, right? I'm a huge advocate. Journaling. Write it down again, write it down some more. Whether it's a reprogramming of negative thoughts or whether it's really having some honest reflection with yourself. If you're just trying to figure it all out up here in the cabeza, in your head, it's not going to work. There's too many things going on up there that you need to start sorting and clearing out all that clutter. Just be honest with yourself. If you're hearing this message, what does your kitchen look like? What does your physical spaces look like? If you're neat and tidy, that's a beautiful thing. I don't think it's exactly connected to how tidy your thoughts are. However, if you're somebody that has a lot of clutter going on in your spaces, behind the closed doors, it's pretty indicative that it's a reflection of what's going on inside of your mind and your spirit. You're cluttered, you're overwhelmed. And a big suggestion and some advice that I'd give you is, start clearing out your spaces. Start really like one place at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. But if you can just clear one space, maybe it's your bathroom, maybe it's a closet, maybe it's your bedroom, maybe it's your kitchen, maybe it's a living space, the dining room, one place at a time. Even your car. If you could just clear out your car and start being more sensitive that if your car's a mess, and if you spent all day for a day, like really detailing and clearing out, vacuuming, scrubbing, wiping down, like really, really putting in some real energy on the inside of your vehicle, the next time you get in that vehicle, it's gonna feel, wow, this feels good. Because what you've done is you've cleared energy, and that is an exact replica of what's going on in your mind, that when you start to write things down, that also frees energy and clutter and allows you to start having more mental clarity. And if you mix that with also having sobriety and writing things down, I can guarantee you, if you have felt any level of being stuck, that you're gonna start to get some traction and some movement in your life. Now, the thing that I have to caution you with is that the guidance and the direction that I point people towards is to go into the shadow, into the darkness, the deepest, darkest parts of your soul, and that's where the truth lies. And I get it. I fully get it. I hear you, that you've been through some really bad things. And some of those things are so bad that you don't ever want to have to re-experience them again. Here's the problem with that thinking and even that feeling, is just because you have, as a means of survival, said, I don't ever want to experience whatever it was that happened to you ever again. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to feel that way. I never want to deal with it again. The problem with that is, because you experienced whatever it is, fill in the blank, you saying that doesn't make it go away at an energetic, spiritual level. You continue. The person that suffers the most when you do not process and heal from your trauma is you. You're the one suffering, not the persons or persons that were a part of whatever it is that you experienced in childhood that caused you to feel unsafe in one way or another. You saying, I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to experience it, I've outgrown it, I've moved on. You may think it, but you are lying to yourself. That is not how this works. You cannot just move on from it. Trauma, which is an emotional wound, it's invisible, does not heal with time. Time and experiences and success and all of these things does not heal trauma. Trauma is stored in the deepest, darkest parts of your soul, and it is always active and present until you sit in it. You sit with it. You re-experience it. And by doing that in a more safe and secure environment, not as the child that experienced it, but as the safe adult that is on a healing path that can provide reassurance and protection to say, hey, it's safe. It's safe for us to open up that door. It's safe for us to look in that scary place. And maybe that this is where professional help can be beneficial, because it can hold you. It can hold your hand. It can hold you energetically. It's where having even a life coach like me, which is really, I'm a healer. I'm on this planet to help others heal, to help reduce the suffering. And the suffering that we are dealing with isn't physical suffering. It is mental and emotional suffering and spiritual suffering. It's not just physical. I've seen physical suffering. But there is far, far more mental, emotional, and spiritual suffering happening in the hearts and the minds and the souls of humanity. And that's why there's so much chaos. That is why there's so much turmoil in this world, because it's all a reflection of how people are really feeling about themselves within. And yet you can't outgrow it. You can't outmaneuver it. You can't out-success it. You can't outwork it. You can't get in good enough shape to make the feelings about yourself go away. All of that is temporary. It's not until you fully sit in your shit and re-experience it as the adult, but with your inner child. And yeah, there's going to be some tears, and yeah, there could be some screaming, and yeah, there could be a lot of different shit that comes out. But I promise you that when you sit in a safe environment and allow this stuff to come out, you allow it to come out through journaling and reflection, you allow it to come out through meditation, you allow it to come out through talk therapy, through nature therapy, you allow it to really just be present, and you have some acknowledgement, that is when you are empowered. That is when you can, that is literally you processing something that you were incapable of processing when it first happened. And even though you have a story saying, I never want to re-experience that, you do have to go back in and experience the fullness of whatever that emotion was. And it's inside of you. It is literally inside of you. It is trapped. You have trapped it inside of your body, inside of your soul. And if you're hearing this message, my heart goes out to you. I'm sending you strength. I'm sending you courage. I'm sending you the clarity and the confidence to join me on this journey to heal once and for all. I believe it's possible. I've seen it with my own experience. Having lived through so much violence and trauma and rejection and abandonment and betrayal, and yet I sit here pure-hearted, pure, like clear. I accept myself. I've embraced myself. And I've sat in the deepest, darkest parts of who I am. I've sat in the things that happened to me, that hurt me. I've sat with the thoughts and processing of forgiving people that have hurt me at the deepest levels of my soul. Literally forgiving is releasing. It's letting them go energetically. I never have to call these people and say, hey, I forgive you for hurting me. It's not about that. It's about energetically saying, I don't want to hold on to that anymore. And it's learning a lesson in the process. As I said earlier, it's asking yourself that these experiences that have caused you pain at an emotional level, it's sitting with yourself with enough clarity to say, what is the lesson here? Was the lesson to learn not to ever trust people ever again? Or is the lesson at a deeper level, like a soul lesson, for you to learn how powerful you are, to learn that what codependency is, to learn how to forgive. Forgiveness in and of itself is like such a powerful spiritual lesson, to forgive, because when we're holding resentment, for some reason we are so stuck in our pain that we forget that we've hurt people also. Nobody's innocent. If you think you're innocent, that you've never hurt somebody, right? Then, like, you should reach out to me so we can have a talk, because there has to be some kind of a blockage there to where whatever you've experienced is so bad that you don't even acknowledge that as a wounded person, your pain that you carry around is toxic and harmful in and of itself. And the longer you carry it around and the deeper you try to suppress it, it absolutely has leakage. And it's your pain, if unhealed, is gonna be transferred to people you care about. And that's been my experience. And that's why I get on here with this message, because it is so important for me to try and be a part of the solution, to realize that, man, I didn't want to keep doing what I was doing, hurting people that I absolutely love and care about. And I hope that if you've made it this far in the message, that you'll consider a few things. Here at Results Kill Excuses, this channel isn't about just talk. It's not about me just entertaining you. It's about me trying to educate you and, yes, challenge you to really open yourself up to the possibility that you can heal. You can heal any trauma. Any trauma can be healed if you are in the right spirit, the right mindset, and with the right openness. You have to be open, and it's going to challenge you. It's going to freak you out. It's going to want to close you down when you start the healing journey, because it's going to stretch you outside of your comfort zone. And I've experienced that each and every day. And one of the hardest lessons that I've had to really sit with and integrate is that as I've healed, I become more and more misunderstood by so many people that don't want to heal, that are like, man, stop, no, get out of here with that shit. And these are people I love and care about. But they're choosing to misunderstand me. They're choosing to twist what I bring. And I've learned that I'm learning that that's also an opportunity for me to learn, for me to heal, that I don't have to sit there and do the tug of war of trying to convince people to hear me and understand me and accept me. That if someone is hell-bent on misunderstanding me, nothing I say is going to change their mind. If you have made it this far in the message and you're not feeling that this message makes any sense to you, then it's like, I'm not here to try and convince you that what I'm saying is true. But I can tell you, if this message is resonating, if this message feels timely, if this message feels like it's showing up at the right time, at the right place where you are in life, then maybe it's time for you to start trying some new things. And one of those things you could try is click the link down below and check out the Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal. It's each volume, which the goal is to get to 4 volumes, is 91 days of self-accountability. It's learning how to journal. It's learning how to start reprogramming negative thoughts into positive thoughts. It's learning how to start setting really low goals and building yourself up. It's learning how to understand what self-sabotage looks like and how to get to self-mastery, knowing that there's self-discovery, self-improvement, self-development, self-awareness, and then self-mastery. That there is an actual process to your healing if you have the courage and the clarity and the will and the mindset and the open-heartedness to join me on this journey. You may feel alone, but you don't have to do this alone. This work can be done collectively. Here at Results Kill Excuses, there's a lot of beautiful people that are actually doing the work, like me, and hopefully like you. I just want to thank you for tuning in, subscribing to the channel, sharing the message. If you feel like this message could reach somebody that you know, maybe someone's coming up. I also appreciate you commenting down below, sharing some of your story. It literally means the world to me to know that someone out there is hearing this message and it's resonating. And if it's resonating with you, you sharing how it's resonating, what you're going through, and sharing that message in the comments down below, guess what? By you doing that, that helps other people to feel seen and heard as well. And that's how we build community, and that's how we start to shift this world. That's how we start to align ourselves with our higher selves. By not just being about listening, but being about doing and participating in this collective process of healing, of growth, of expansion, and really just challenging ourselves to ultimately be the best version of ourselves, 1% better each and every day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll catch you on the next video. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.